Welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Wisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another edition of Crime and Sports. More of Eamonn Magee as we continue this insane. It's crazy that I'd never heard of this guy, never knew he existed, and he exists so much. Like, he's had such a crazy existence.
He never stops existing.
He never stops. He keeps fucking persisting. He persists to exist. That's what he does. So we will get into that in a second. Just want to say, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your tickets for live shows.
Please do.
They are there for Small Town Murder for the fall. A lot of them are selling out. So if you want to go to, say, Seattle or Philly or Irvine or D.C., get your tickets now, because they are going fast. So thank you to everyone who's done that. Also, tons of merch on there. Look around, you'll see all sorts of cool stuff. So that's shutupandgivememurder.com. Also, get yourself some Patreon.
Please,
it is worth it. Patreon.com/crimeinsports is where you get all the bonus material. Here's what you got to do. You got to pay $5 a month or above, and you get everything. Everything. Huge back catalog, hundreds and hundreds. I mean, you hear us every week. We tell you the episodes. They're all on there. Hundreds and hundreds of episodes on there immediately upon subscription to binge on. New ones every other week. One Crime and Sports, one Small Town Murder, and you, goddammit, get it all. And this week is no different. What we're going to do this week for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about an insane baseball league that's happening where the guys in this league, they play by 1864 rules.
Oh.
So the whole thing is played with 1864 equipment, 1864. It's just a crazy fucking thing, and it's so
wool
weird.
Uniforms.
Good God, yeah, you know it. Wool. Back then, it was probably not even wool. It was probably made of steel or something. They just
Berber carpet.
some burlap. So we will talk all about that then for Small Town Murder, and I can't wait for this. We are going to talk about the crazy new Sherry Papini documentary. Where she claims that she not only lied the first time, she also lied the second time when she said she was telling the truth. And now she's going to tell the actual truth. And the actual truth is she was actually kidnapped. So I actually wasn't lying the first time. I was just lying about exactly what happened. It's insane. And God damn it, I can't wait to make fun of her because she's one of the craziest people we've ever encountered in all of our time.
I do love the trailer of her trying to make jokes. It's like, baby, this is not a laughing matter. If you're going to laugh, then we're certainly
we're going to laugh at you a lot. So we will do that. That is patreon.com/crimeinsports. It's going to be a fun week there. And you get a shout out at the end of the show as well. So we'll do that for you. Jimmy will mispronounce your name.
You bet.
That said, Eamonn Magee, baby. Let's get into this. When we left off, he fought a guy, the Shamrock there, the Shamrock guy, or Shamrock Express, that was his name, Shay the Shamrock Express Neary, who he called a fake Irishman, and they had all of that, and his brother ran around and told him that he was about to lose and stop being a pussy and go in there and beat the guy, and then he won by decision. So his next fight, we're going to pick up March 13th, 2001, which to talk about this guy in the 2000s just seems crazy. He seems like he's from another time, like another I know that's another time, but like even farther removed. So he fights Alan Bosworth, who goes by the nickname, here it is, everybody,
the Boz.
No, better. He said, now the Boz, that sounded pretty tough when he was the Boz. I'll go by Bozzy, which sounds like Fozzie and not tough.
Sounds like Boz's kid.
Yeah, a little Bozzy there. So Alan Bozzy Bosworth, who's 13-9 coming into this fight. This is in Plymouth in the UK here in England. And this is a 5th-round TKO win for Eamonn, bringing him his 20th win of his career, which is a big deal.
Great, yeah.
So he's 20-2 right there, winning by TKO. There's an article after that saying that apparently he is going to there's a talk of him fighting Ricky Hatton, who's a real, popular, well-known fighter. And so he's saying that he wants to fight Ricky Hatton. He's got this other guy next who's some South African guy, but he really wants to fight Ricky Hatton. He said, I don't think Ricky Hatton has got many fights left because of his eyes, and I want to be the first one.
What?
I want to be the one who gets to him first. I'll rip him apart. He said, Hatton is called a world champion, and he's not even the best in Britain. It would be the perfect fight for me. He's made for Eamonn Magee. It's time to get a deal done, and if they're serious about fighting me, they need to be offering me more than the 70,000 pounds they offered me last time.
Okay. What does he even mean by his eyes? What's the matter? Are they like...
I don't know if he's got a vision problem, like a Sugar Ray Leonard issue, where they get detached retinas, or if he's just or if his eyes just open up. He's got bad scar tissue in his eyes that opens up a lot. Because some guys get that after a while.
Right,
you'll get that. It's kind of like you get the Dusty Rhodes forehead, except on your eyebrows, where it's just been cut a lot, and now it's just scar tissue. Mm-hmm. So May 12, 2001, he fights Harrison Methula. Now it says his alias is Harrison David Methula, which is quite the alias. You're really fooling me on that one.
Really? Yeah.
The Methula on that one. Seriously, that's insane. So he's 17-8, Methula, coming into this. He's 17-12 for his career, so he's not going to win this fight or any other fights for the rest of his goddamn career. Seventh round TKO for Mr. Magee here, giving him 21-2 is his record. And so he's really, really wanting Ricky Hatton. That's his big deal. Again, Ricky Hatton. That's all he says. Magee's coach said, "We went to great trouble to find a willing opponent for Eamonn to defend his Commonwealth Championship against, I guess, Denny Mancini of the Commonwealth Board managed to get us Justin Roswell to agree to fight Eamonn. The Australian asked for tape recordings of Eamonn in action, and we had Roswell send us tapes. All of that proved to be a complete waste of time. Roswell was approached and changed his mind, probably a bigger purse and the opportunity to win Hatton's WBU world title. We don't know who Eamonn's opponent will be for an Intercontinental title bout." Oh, shit. The Intercontinental title's up for grabs.
It's probably going to be Hulk Hogan.
I was going to say, I think the Honky Tonk Man's up for this one, possibly, if we're talking about old school Intercontinental shit. We have been told the Commonwealth Championship defense will be on either December 8th or be December 16th. So they said it's been a messy time for us. The main thing is that Eamonn is given a contest on the 27th. And he does get a contest on the 27th, October 27th, 2001, against Matthews Zulu.
Yeah.
Matthews. I guess
that's his first name.
That's his first name. Matthews Zulu. Zulu. He's 16-4-2 coming into this fight. And I guess Zulu was a guy who was putting on weight to go up in weight class here. So he wasn't really considered, he was considered kind of a lighter weight guy that just had to put on a few pounds. So not a real great resume, hasn't fought anybody really good, but for some reason this guy could just hang on. It's one of those guys that doesn't get knocked out. So this fight goes all 12 rounds.
Wow.
And Eamonn wins on points, but he shouldn't be winning on points against this guy. This is a tomato can that you set up for him so he could blast him and look really good, so Ricky Hatton has to give him a title shot. Yeah. Now he just went 12 with some nobody, so
with Zulu,
kind of kills his whole momentum here. He is 22-2 though. Okay. So the problem is
that's positive still, whether it's commanding wins or not. It's 22.
Positive, but when they're gonna. Problem is he's got to look better for a promoter to want him to fight. He's got to do something exciting. That's part of it. So he starts having a bad time because he's used to, back in the day, he would fight a lot more. Now he's only fighting 2-3 times a year because big fighters, champions, don't fight every month. It's just not what you do. Yeah. You can make more money, so you take more time to train and all that. So he's got more free time now. And that's the problem, is a guy like Eamonn really shouldn't have any free time. When he's occupied with productive endeavors, he's fine. But when you leave this guy to his own devices, it's a fucking problem. Yeah. So he's still always drinking and doing drugs, obviously. I mean, that's I think that helps his boxing. Really do. It must by this point.
Yeah, when he's sober, he goes 12 rounds.
Yeah, it's not a great thing here. Yeah. So also, he's not having a great time with his marriage and the family and all that kind of thing. And him and his wife, Mary, are fighting all the time. Sometimes physical fights. They're beating the shit out of each other and everything else. Eamonn would end up taking off after these fights and just disappear for several days. Just gone. He'd just disappear from the house. And then she'd have to, deal with the kids and deal with everything.
Sometimes the fights are no fun to talk about.
No, they're no fun, but I don't think you can leave for a week and just,
Can't you?
Probably, I mean, technically you can. I don't think it's going to be very good for your relationship, but I mean, it's what we want to do. It's not what you should do. So once, when I guess he was supposed to pick the kids up and didn't at school, so the kids were left waiting for him at school. So Mary came home, packed up all of Eamonn's shit in black garbage bags.
Oh no.
And put them in like a Goodwill, basically, the English Goodwill, a charity shop, which is here's a bunch of shit that, when somebody dies, you drop all this shit off. A couple days later, he was walking to the gym when he noticed a shop window mannequin dressed head to toe in his exact outfits.
Hey, I got that shirt.
That's a pretty sharp outfit. I bought that together. That's pretty good. So he went into the store, looked around, and saw all of his clothes there. He bought it all back, which is hilarious. Really? He had to buy all his clothes back and came home to an empty house. Mm-hmm. So nobody's home. So what he did is he went into Mary's closet and cut a big chunk out of the side of every one of her dresses.
Oh, that's not cool.
Destroyed all of her. Well, she sold all of his clothes. So
yeah, but that's not the same, is it?
I think
now
it's
go
about
use
equal.
the money you sold my shit and buy yourself new shit.
I think that's what. Yeah. I think. At least, I think he would have rather had clothes with pieces taken out than none at all, probably.
Maybe so, yeah.
So I think what I'm going to say is, I don't think it's healthy for anybody to be doing any of this shit. No. Let's put it that way.
Stop
it's not
fucking with each other.
Yeah, I don't know if the extent of it is, I don't know which one is worse. Is kind of ridiculous to try to figure out, I think. So later on, they made up anyway, and all that kind of shit. So that's what's hilarious, though. They would make up.
It's certainly something.
That's how big of a fight they would have, and they would still make up, which is, that seems like that's the end when you're trashing each other's clothes and shit.
When you're trashing anything anybody owns.
Especially all their clothes. That's just a lot, and an extreme thing.
Now go around naked.
It's so weird. Yeah, it's such a weird thing to think to do, isn't it?
It's just childish. I don't want to break any of your shit ever.
No, that's what I mean.
If I ever break up with someone, I don't want to ruin anything I don't want to.
It's like stuff that wrestlers would fuck with each other in locker rooms back in the day. They'd cut up, when somebody's fucking with somebody and they cut up their pants or that kind of shit. It's very weird. So I
just don't want to cause you extra shit to do, and I don't want to have to. If we're breaking up,
I just don't want to deal with all this garbage. Right. I have better shit to do than cut the sides out of all your dresses and buy back all my own clothes. I have better shit to do than both of that shit. I don't want to deal with that. Busy.
I just don't want to have to be responsible for any more. If this is over, I don't want you coming back going, and you owe me for clothes.
I guess, yeah. And I think the clothes are the least of their worries at this point if they've got to this extent. Also, he's constantly on something, basically. Mm-hmm. He's a high-functioning alcoholic, obviously, and he would fucking, do a shitload of coke and everything else. He said basically he'd be drinking and he'd do a bunch of coke, and the next day he kind of felt shitty, but then he could still wake up and go to the gym and do all that kind of thing, even though he felt shitty, which works for a while until you hit about 31. And then it doesn't work anymore.
31. It might be younger than that, to be honest.
It depends on the person. And I feel like someone from Ireland could drink a little longer than your average person, probably. Maybe. I think it's in there. It's in their blood. I'm not even saying that to be funny. There's a certain gene that they carry that allows them to be able to drink a little more heartily than the rest of the world.
Maybe it's longer than that. Maybe it's 35, but you certainly don't realize that it's causing a lot of grief. When you calm it down and you don't drink as much, you realize how much of a problem that really was.
Yeah, and I don't know how much having the crazy life that he's had, getting punched in the face constantly since he was a kid, getting shot twice, getting I don't know how much that would have an effect on it. Also, I don't know if that would up or hurt your time.
I don't know. That might lengthen it.
That's what I'm saying. It might just leather you up, basically. It might just toughen your ass up.
I've recently trimmed it way back, and I've gone a little harder a few nights and been like, I can't do this anymore. It's
yeah.
That last trip that we did to Ohio, it was gross. I puked black in the morning. That's blood,
not good.
I think. I don't know.
That's not good. Well, what
I don't know
liquor
what
were you
that
drinking?
is. Yeah, I'm just tequila.
You were eating all that molasses the night before, Jimmy. So what did you expect?
You were shots of molasses.
You were just drinking all that black molasses. So I mean, obviously, it's going to come up looking a little weird.
I think I'm just done with those kind of drink nights. I'll have a couple of drinks.
You're too fucking old to do that.
Yeah.
Yes. Period. You're too fucking old to do that. That's a young man's game. It's a young man's game.
I am not a young man anymore.
No.
It's a realization a lot of guys in their 40s need to have.
It's what it is, man. And then we went to St. Louis. We sat down. We had a dinner. And we ordered a bottle, like a big bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And we drank all of that. Felt fine, though. That was fine.
Fine. Yeah.
That was fine. That's the limit, though.
I mean, I was drunk, but I was not like.
We walked out of there feeling good and smoked a joint and felt great. And that was what. It was enough to where you're not going to be, when you go to bed, you won't be drunk anymore by the time you go to bed.
Yeah.
You're up a couple hours, you're not drunk anymore, which that's how you want to go to bed.
It takes so much longer to process tequila than it does wine.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you also
crazy.
drank a lot more. You had like 10 tequilas and 3 glasses of wine. That's a big difference.
11 tequila shots. That's too much.
Jesus Christ, that's a little too much. You had like a Karen Reed drinking night, and you were like, why should I feel good? You're not going to feel good.
Surprise, I suck in the morning.
No, you're going to wake up with a headache and a dead boyfriend, and you know it.
And black puke.
That's how it's going, and black puke. So anyway, shit, where are we with Eamonn? We really got off the path here. He's drinking and he's trying to still live like he was younger, basically. Yeah. But they didn't know also, like his trainers and shit, they didn't know about the extent of his drug problem. They thought he drank like the rest of the guys, but that was it. But, he's drinking and doing drugs more than anybody, basically. When they would train with him, they would like take him to like isolated farmhouses to build up for these big fights. As a lot of fighters go to the middle of nowhere, they go to the mountains to have no distractions. But for him, it was so he can't go out and get shit faced and do drugs every night. Can't find coke in the countryside. Yeah. So they said for extra security, they would leave handwritten notes behind the bars of any pubs they thought Eamonn might go to, begging the staff not to serve him if he had a fight coming up in the next few weeks. Like, they'd go to all the bars and be like, you're going to see this guy. Yeah. Like, hold up a picture and be like, please don't let him drink too much. Like, water his shit down. Don't let him drink at all. Yeah. Something. So, but they said Eamonn would be persuasive, and he'd always find some new place to drink anyway. You can't get to every bar. We can find every bar in Ireland. Good luck. There's probably a few there. I would think. So the problem is he loves now. Okay, as if his life isn't risky enough. He loves he would throw Molotov cocktails at soldiers, get shot, fight, be in gangs, all this type of shit. Right now he's drinking, doing drugs, fighting with his wife. He decides, I should have a gambling problem too. That's what would help.
All right.
I should add another vice to this mess.
What's he gambling on? Anything?
My clearly addictive personality is going to go to this now. That's a little bit weird. He loved gambling. He always liked it. He would do the pitch and toss change games in school and all that kind of shit when he beat that kid up for trying to steal his shit. So now he decides that he would bet on things. This is the thing. It's not just like he really loves, say, soccer and he really follows it and he really, is into it. He'll bet on anything.
Really?
Horses, American football, soccer, tennis, and whatever they're literally, he'll go, what's playing today? And bet. He doesn't know anything about it. He just bets on it. That's a gambler right there that just needs to gamble on something. So he became very well known at this point because he's making good money boxing now because he's a champion. Yeah. So, not, millions and millions, not Floyd Mayweather money, but definitely enough. Yeah. Definitely enough to piss away some cash on gambling. Sure. And he would basically, they said, regularly put up 20,000 pounds on one race or one tennis match or something like that. Sometimes double that. Yeah. Which is fucking nuts. He'd win sometimes, but also, like gambling,
probably would not.
You lose most of the time. That's gambling. Yeah. It wouldn't exist if you won all the time.
Right.
Or even most of the time. Nobody would want to. Who the fuck would say that's a good business to be in then? You'd never be in it. So it's interesting. I guess there was an All-Ireland final that he had 40,000 pounds riding on, and he lost when the jockey slid off his horse when he cleared the last whatever the fuck he was doing. and basically lost the race at the last minute here. There was a family weekend when he lost every penny at the races, and the cops were called because he couldn't pay the fucking hotel bill.
Oh, no.
Because he gambled away all of the money. That's on it, like his wife and kids, he did that.
Like a degenerate comedian.
Oh, we know degenerate comedians that did that.
That did exactly that.
We know, yes. We know degenerate fucking comedians that did exactly that and have done that before, and then ask other comedians for money.
For money.
To help them.
Me? My mom's in the hospital. No, she's not.
No, she's not.
You're stuck in fucking Atlantic
She's
City.
not. Bowl games are coming up. Are you out of your mind? Think we're fucking stupid? Yeah. We know where you are.
Yeah, the Sugar Bowl's tomorrow. Fuck off.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, no, fuck no. You don't even know who the hell's playing in it, but you want to bet on it. Jesus, you're gonna bet on like TCU or something. You don't even have any fucking idea what you're betting on. Tulane is not going to win.
You're just looking at what the payout is they win. That's it.
That's all. That is all. So. At one point, he said he estimates that he saw basically close to £1 million lost and won and lost again, that he pissed away on gambling, essentially, which is not good for a guy. I mean, Michael Jordan loses that in a night, people would say at a casino, but he also owns part of Gatorade and Hanes and shit, so he can do that. He doesn't have to.
And Norm Macdonald famously lost and won back
Norm Macdonald,
his entire life 4 times.
Yeah.
But he happened to have tons of friends in showbiz that could put him in movies and make money back so that he could be okay. Plus, an amazingly talented man.
I got to go on the road again. Christ, that's all. I got to do more gigs.
I send the check to my agent because otherwise I'll go see a fucking bookie.
Yeah. It's going to do 40 weeks now. Shit, I was only going to do 30 this year.
God, it was amazing.
So he later said, quote, you know what? Here we go. Let's give him it in their own words. What do you say? I think he deserves it in their own words because he's fucking insane here. Okay. Yeah. In their own words, quote, a gambling addiction is a really terrible fucking thing. He says it can control you every bit as bad as the drink and the gear, which is drugs. It can trick you into thinking that money grows on trees, and so it doesn't matter if you lose, you'll get the money back again soon, one way or another. And that's what I believed back then. And there was always another score or another win or another big purse just around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you're not fighting anymore, then you're just putting money out at that point. There's no in. So he's basically kept, for this next fight, he's kept cooped up in a tiny cottage on the outskirts of Logan Island, I don't know, a small village 25 miles south of Belfast. Okay. It's known for the 1994 massacre, and every one of these Irish towns is known for some horrible bloodshed that took place there. When a UVF murder squad opened fire on a bar full of people watching the Ireland versus Italy World Cup match, killing 6 people.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So basically, an associate here, Michael Hughes, is installed as a camp manager with strict instructions to basically watch Eamonn 24 hours a day. And also his brother Patrick, Eamonn's brother Patrick, stays there and trains with him as well to keep him from fucking off. So they have to like physically keep an eye on him and make sure he's in the same place he's supposed to be and working. But when I guess Callahan, the one guy, dropped the trio at their accommodation on Boxing Day in the middle of an unforgiving winter, none of the group liked where they were. And so they all fucking, they found inside the old white cottage that it was really cold and shitty. Yeah. And there's only 2 rooms with 3 single beds.
Where are we going?
So this isn't good at all here. Basically terrible. They said the floor was paved with the type of concrete flagstones commonly found on an outdoor patio. This isn't good. This is shelter
at the inside of a place?
This is the inside. This is shelter at its most basic fucking sense of the word
Rock
here.
Floor.
That's what it is. So Eamonn said, "You must be fucking joking. I'm not staying here." He said, and the guy said, "You need this after last time. You look like you were too fucking soft last time. You almost lost to a nobody. So this is what you need here." Said, "Sorry, you got to do it." So the brothers said, "All right, I guess this is what we're doing here." And they started staying there. So they'd rise at daybreak, and Patrick would walk into on top of a long, steep hill and then tell his younger sibling to sprint up after him. run up that fucking hill. Eamonn made it about a quarter of the way up on his first attempt, but that was fine. That's the point. He's got to, work up to that shit, work his wind up. And so as soon as he did reach the summit, Patrick set off at a rapid pace and told his brother to try to catch up with him before the 8-mile undulating loop took them back to the cottage. Yeah. So he made him run up a big hill, and then he had to run 8 miles with his legs jello after running a big hill, which is great for stamina for boxing because you need your legs more than anything in boxing. So they would run through snow for a lot of it, sometimes knee-deep snow, which if you've seen Rocky IV, you know that will make you beat anybody.
You win. Yeah.
If you run through deep enough snow and carry enough logs, you will win the fight, even if the man is way bigger and more skilled than you. That's just how it works.
If you can't win, then you will just pay an AIDS-riddled guy to do it for you.
That's fine. It's fine. Someone will do it. It's fine. So that was actually, that's
that
5. 5 is Tommy Morris.
That's the next one.
Yeah, that's the next one. I'm thinking Drago here.
Yeah.
So, so they're running through the fields. They're doing all this. Then he would beat a giant tractor tire with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Before chopping chunks of wood with a long-handled axe and then, carrying them. He literally did Rocky IV training. They were like, listen.
What year is this? Because he may have invented...
2001.
He may have invented CrossFit.
Well, I think Rocky IV invented CrossFit. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think he's just copying Rocky IV.
If you don't have workout equipment, just beat the shit out of a tire.
If he's hanging backwards off the second floor of a loft and doing sit-ups, he's just copying Rocky IV. Yeah. Rocky IV and bad CrossFit. So it was basically, it's in the book, they call it old school, brutal, Rocky-esque training. So that's, they just did it. They just said, we'll make him Rocky IV. So 5 weeks into it, he was sprinting all the way up the hill and fucking actually catching Patrick a mile down the road and lapping him and everything else. So he, works his way up here. And February 9th, 2002, Jono Thaxton, he's going to fight. 21-6 coming into this fight, Thaxton is here. And apparently Thaxton is shorter and a lot stockier. He looks like more, like muscular type of guy. And, Magee is kind of lanky and that's more, he's not like a stocky guy at all. Yeah. So, but he's been training, he looks tough and everything like that. And the Hatton fight basically looks like it's going to happen, but he's got to look good enough to make it so he gets booked for this fight. He's got to win and he's got to look fun doing it. So he ends up in the 6th round, he moved to his right, back against the ropes. Eamonn allowed Thaxton in, and then nailed him with a left hand to the chin, and then he just started throwing fucking uppercuts and crosses. He saw he hit him good and stunned him. And some of those fighters, some fighters are like, if you see ever Oscar De La Hoya hit somebody and stun them, he takes a second. Yeah. It's like, I scored a point, now let me get some more points. If you saw when Mike Tyson would stun somebody, he would start throwing. It's killer instinct time. Yeah. Well, you're hurt now. You're fucked now. I'm gonna. Right. Whereas, some guys don't have that killer instinct, and some guys see that, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you now, motherfucker. Look at you. You're weak, and that's what Eamonn is like. So Eamonn starts absolutely just beating the living shit out of him, and so he's beating him down, and the ref steps in, and it's a TKO basically. Mm-hmm. So that's that. And 23-2, and he looked real good doing it, battered this guy and all that. So, okay. Sky Sports invites Eamonn and his trainers here to attend a Ricky Hatton fight to keep the hype train going, because that's what they do. They'll have that guy sitting in the audience. Maybe they'll bring him on commentary for a minute to say that, this guy, I could get through his defenses and whatever, pump up the fight. Same thing they do in wrestling. Forever. That's the same thing. Yeah. So Magee arrives here on Saturday morning with Bo Cameron, a friend of his. They'd been up all night and they look like shit. So Hatton knocks a guy out in the 4th round to claim the vacant WBU title. And then Eamonn is invited into the ring and introduced to the crowd. And, they boo him and all that kind of shit here. Sure. Yeah. And they start chanting, "Ricky's gonna kill you. Ricky's gonna kill you. Ricky's gonna kill you." They love to chant things there. Yeah. Now, The great thing is, though, Magee knows how to be a heel. He's a natural heel.
Sure.
So he fucking loves it. He's like, yeah.
Does he chant back?
Now you just fucking bring it on, motherfuckers.
Right.
He loves it, basically. This is he's a heel wrestler. He loves it. So
on
the way home here, he wanted to call his mother, okay? So he calls his mother, Isabel, here. And now Isabel had met another guy and was living with him now, an English guy in Lancashire. And basically made some lunch. And after the meal, Eamonn decided that he and his friend would hang around for a few days. So they ended up heading to the bookies to try to win some money because they didn't have a lot of money. So Eamonn goes on a winning streak, and he ends up fucking staying for 2 weeks and partying and shit. That's what he does. While he's there, he strikes up a relationship. Now, obviously, he's married. That doesn't matter for Eamonn, though.
Whatever.
It's basically his stepdad's daughter. His new stepdad's daughter.
Okay.
Yep, who was sleeping in the other room.
Yeah.
And he told everybody, by the way, that he wanted this guy to know, because he didn't like this guy. Number one, it's somebody his mom's dating, and number two, he's English, so he doesn't like him in either respect. He said that he wanted this guy to hear every bang of the headboard and squeal of his daughter as he fucked her. As he fucked her in the house with them there. Wow.
My mom's husband.
That's horrifying.
I need
horrifying.
to hear what your
Take that.
son's doing to your actual daughter.
Yep.
This is why that shit is number one on fucking Pornhub, man. That's so gross.
Is that the number one? Is that what people are into?
Stepdaughter,
okay.
stepson, step anything. Okay. That's the number one genre. It's so embarrassing.
I was thinking like listening through a wall to somebody else fucking? Like, how is that? That's honestly what I thought. How's that the most popular thing?
No, the most popular thing is to fuck your step something. That's so gross.
Really?
Go look at the.
Go ahead, type it in.
I dare you. Type in any porn website. The very first video is going to be stepmother.
Really?
Let's. That's the grossest part. Stepmother lets stepson fuck her blind or some shit like that.
Blind.
It's the craziest thing. I don't know. They fuck her till she can't taste, or I don't know.
Okay. But is part of it making the guy know, the stepdad or your dad or whoever the fuck
I
is
don't
the
think so. No, it's hiding.
Letting him know? Oh, you're hiding it from him. Okay. And if it was like banging on the wall, you hear that, Dad?
But the stepmom always says some gross shit like you're bigger than your dad or some shit like that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, all right.
Dude, this shit it's out of control. Rome is on fire.
And I guess the step sibling shit would just be like,
that's so gross.
What's the thing of? But they're like, if they're not related, is it like we're not supposed to fuck? Is that the draw of it?
It's just the taboo idea.
We're technically not supposed to fuck, but at the same time, this isn't actually incest.
But guess what? We won't make any children that have some problems.
Yeah,
everything will be fine.
If I did knock you up, it wouldn't be the end of the world. It
won't change a thing. It'll just make mom and dad upset.
More white trash than we were. Yes. All right, the world is all fucked up.
Still gross. Yeah.
So anyway, the Hatton fight's trying to line up here. Magee has defended his title 5 times, the Commonwealth title, and so that's what's going on here. He gets his fight against Hatton, okay, and this is a high-profile fight. It's big shit here. He celebrates, has some drinks here, which is, of course,
plows his stepsister.
How he does. Plows his stepsister, future stepsister. Make sure his dad knows about it, or stepdad, or whoever the fuck it was. So when they settle down and they're opening their drinks, a bouncer approaches the table and asks them to finish up their drinks and fuck off. He said it's in your own best interest, is what the guy said. So basically, he was warned that you got to fuck off, essentially. That your type isn't wanted around here because of the Irish thing and all that. So anyway, it's billed as Anarchy in the UK, this fight, and they sell 20,000 tickets and sell out this arena for it.
Wow.
Which is a big fight. It's a big European fight, real eagerly awaited. And Magee had trouble leading up to the fight when a Panamanian sparring partner that he had paid for were deported from Ireland after they arrived at the airport. So he specially brought in a sparring partner to match Ricky Hatton's style, and the guy got deported before they could spar. So that's not great.
Nice.
No good here. So they end up again taking him in the middle of fucking nowhere. Way in the middle of nowhere to get him the fuck out of here. Basically away from Belfast is what they had to do. Because even during camp, he's still drinking a lot. Yeah. And he would wake up every morning and do all the training and do everything, but 2 or 3 times a week he'd go out to the bar and drink till he was shit-faced and show up at 4 o'clock in the morning, basically. So, with a woman half the time, too.
Yeah.
Which none of this is allowed in training. So
anybody's stepsister.
Anybody's stepsister. Somebody's stepmother. I don't care. At this point, he's in his 30s or some shit. So, probably start fucking stepmothers at this point, right?
Yeah.
Just not his, hopefully.
You can't. Right? That's so gross, you guys.
It's just, it's really. So after, I didn't realize that did they really hit the point?
What do you mean?
Okay.
Tell me what that means.
Are they just fucking, is that just the title and it's oh yeah, these two? Or are they talking about it's weird how you're my stepsister? Or is it really okay, all right.
It's,
we're all fast forwarding through that anyway. Who cares about that? That's what I mean. I don't.
Dumb.
Who gives a shit what the setup is? Does that help you at all?
The problem is that she's saying this shit while he's balls deep inside her too. So if you're watching it and trying to tug, then this lady's saying shit hurry up before your dad gets home.
That's a little weird. Yeah, that's a little weird.
You better at least take the trash out or your dad's going to get mad. Shut up, lady. I'm trying to come.
Oh, my God. But that's supposed to make you come more, isn't it?
It's supposed to. I don't know.
Who wants to be stressed out during sex? Is that part of it?
Yeah, stop making me hurry.
Hurry up, the food's almost here. What the fuck is that? Is that supposed to...
I promise you, I'm trying to hurry.
Yeah, what do you think? I'm doing this for you? Give me a break here. So, anyway, he feels like he can beat anybody. So he feels like he can still drink a few nights a week and still be able to do anything he wants, which is kind of believe in your own hype a little bit here.
Not bad.
Not real smart. So... they said that they were basically his brother and the one guy he was training with were basically threatened into silence, into not telling on him. And then his manager trainer guy didn't really know what was happening. He didn't know he was even doing this. So they would force extra rounds of sparring onto him if they ever smelled any alcohol. So they would try to dissuade him from doing that because they'd make him work more and shit like that. But it didn't fucking matter. He just kept doing it.
He loves it.
Yeah, they said one man who was fully aware of Eamonn's behavior at this time was the local IRA commander.
Oh.
That's not great. They said he hadn't exactly been discreet with going out and doing shit. He's driving around a Range Rover.
Yeah.
Even with a Range Rover with a big thing on the back that is a huge advertisement for him versus Hatton. So you know exactly who the fuck it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of silly. They said that everyone recognized his car after a while when he's in the area training. So, yeah, he would start going through the villages all hours of the night, and they were like, oh, it's Eamon. So, I don't know what's going on. So, one night around midnight, Eamon is lying in bed, half asleep, half shit-faced, when he hears a light scratching sound at the patio door of his room.
Oh. Yeah.
So, he popped up, and he's, what the hell is this here? And, he didn't think it was nothing. He thought it was something. And which with this guy, with his life, I mean, Christ almighty, it could be half the soldiers in town coming to rip him out of your house. Yeah. So they said it's all he could hear. So he slipped out of bed and went across the room to open his door and look out in search of Patrick and the other guy there, Mickey. Yeah. So he starts walking toward them when a big thud goes against the front door. Mm-hmm. And they're like, holy shit. So Eamon said, get up here now, to his brother and his friend before they went into Patrick's room. Patrick said, what the fuck is going on here? What's happening? And the door is being kicked. Someone's kicking the front door.
Yeah.
So they're all in Patrick's bedroom. And Eamon dragged a heavy chest of drawers across the floor. They'd kicked a hole into the wooden front door by now. And 3 masked and armed men were standing in the hallway.
Oh.
As he's trying to push this chest in front of his brother's door to keep him out of this room. So they said, come out here now, Eamonn. That's not good.
No.
They said, this is the Irish Republican Army, and we need to have a word with you.
Oh.
So they're sitting in there silent, like, maybe they'll go away if we don't make any noise.
Probably.
They tend to do that, right? They'll just take off. I guess he's not here. Yeah. They said, come on, Eamonn, we just want to talk. So he said, all right, just talk. He said, I've heard that a million times before. So they're kind of going back and forth. They're yelling through this door that he's got a big fucking thing in front of. Finally, Eamonn said, basically, whatever they'd come for, they're going to get eventually here.
They're going to get it, yeah.
They're either going to kick their way into here and take me, or I'm going to go out and talk to them. So he said, basically, at this point, all I'm doing is putting my brother and my trainer in danger. So fuck this. He said, okay, I'm coming out on my own. Back away from the bedroom door, and I'll talk to you. He said he heard the footsteps go a little farther away, so he pushed the chest of drawers open and cracked the bedroom door. Here, look out. And they stood there all holding guns, these guys, the three guys in the hallway. So he walked out of the bedroom, and they said, hello, Eamonn. And he said, what the fuck do you want, basically?
They just cable guide him.
Yeah, exactly. They're all armed, though. That's terrifying.
Pretend to walk away.
Oh, no, they did walk away. They were just a few feet away. Yeah.
Oh,
no, they walked away. They were just, 5 feet away. Okay. He said, just clear the door. Yeah, that would have been funny if they just did that and then stood there.
We're leaving.
Bye. Yeah. No, he said, just move away from the door you don't bum rush the door, and I'll walk out on my own, basically. So they said, just a word. Like I said, I'm glad we found you here tonight. We've been round before, and there was no sign of you. And he said, I'm normally here. Well, no, you're not. You're normally out drinking. And they said, no, you're not, and that's the problem. Normally, you're out in that fucking Jeep driving around these roads pissed at all hours. You're shit-faced, drunk driving. All right. They said boozing and shagging all round from what we hear.
Sounds great.
So his line is, what are you, what business of it is of yours, he's about to say. And they said, shut up, Magee, just fucking listen for once in your life. You don't come into our area and behave like that, you understand? So he nodded, and they said, also, you're fighting Ricky fucking Hatton in less than a fortnight, and you're drunk every other night. What are you doing?
Right.
So they're doing what his brother and the trainer should have been doing. Why are you blowing your chance, stupid? And he said, what are you talking about? And the guy said, quote, this is a big one.
Yeah.
They're trying to help him here.
This is huge.
He said, concentrate on training for a few fucking weeks, and you could be set for your life after that. So Eamonn said, okay, Jesus Christ, message received, which is like, hey, asshole, we don't have to come in here and kick your goddamn door open to try to make you a better boxer, but we did.
We did it.
And they said, we only want to help you, you know. And he said, help me? Fuck me, lads. You think kicking through my door and marching in here with guns in your hands is helping me? Could you not have just sent me a fucking text message or something?
Go pick up my stepsister. That could help.
Send me a cake and write it on it. I don't give a fuck. Put it on my stepsister's tits where I'll see it. He said, watch yourself, Eamonn. You're the guest down here, and you can very quickly be put out. And he said, okay, what are we going to do? So the next morning, he drove into town and bought a wooden panel to fix the door. And he found some paint and, fixed it all up. And then he walked to the main farmhouse and told the owner that there's a change in plans and they're going back to Belfast. Paid the guy in full and fucking took off. That was that. And that was the end of his training camp for Ricky Hatton. So he's got the fight in 2 weeks, and he left training camp.
Done.
That's crazy. Here is something from the author of the book here that I've been reading from. Quote, I've heard that story told on 2 separate occasions, once by Eamonn and once by Patrick. In terms of the detail, both relay almost identical tales, but in terms of the tone each man adopts as they retell it, there's a world of difference. For Patrick, it's like reliving a nightmare, more a post-trauma flashback than a simple recollection. He pauses to shake his head at various points, still a little stunned by the experience. As someone who's been through like horror and, then they took my family in the middle of the night and all that. For Eamonn, however, it's just another story. For him, it's funny. For him, it's a funny story. For drunks, tragedy is hilarious. So they're funny stories, or else it'd be sad. Whereas for Patrick, a normal guy, he's like, oh, God, it was terrifying. So, yeah, they said he was only about 30 years old and he'd already seen it all. That granted him a macabre perspective on life, a twisted interpretation of the old maxim, and whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. He had developed a fatalistic view of the world, and as long as he physically walked away from a situation, that was good enough for him. Yeah. He said later in life he'd be haunted and tortured by past events preying on his mind, but back then at the height of his professional career, his attitude was simple. Fuck it all. Don't care.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah. He's living that kind of crazy life, which, I mean, you know, in boxing you kind of have to have a little bit of that because you are going in there to get punched in the face.
And but throw some blows yourself, yeah.
At the same time, you also have to be really, really like conscious of every move you're making and every no wasted effort, and you know, in your training and your fighting and everything. So, I don't know if being drunk is the best time to do that and having your dick hard for your stepsister the whole time.
Probably not. Yeah,
I don't know. So, May 29th, 2002, he's real pissed off. The referee is chosen for the bout against Ricky Hatton. It's a guy named Mickey Van. And I guess that was the last guy, I guess. And he's in charge of Hatton's last 6 fights. So he's been the ref for Hatton's last 6 fights. He's like Hatton's personal ref, basically. Okay. And Magee is pissed that he's going to also be there this time. He's like, you can't have a personal ref. This is crazy. Right. Again, this is such a wrestling angle. There's the special guest referee, and he can't have that ref. That's a total wrestling angle. I've seen it 100 times. That's the same fucking thing. So they said if it's an unprecedented situation at any level and means Hatton will have had the same referee for all 7 of his title bouts, which is not normal. Yeah, that's not normal. Even
7?
Even Mills Lane didn't do every fight. They'd have Richard Steele doing a couple. There'd be, some of them. Magee said, I think it's a shambles that he's been allowed to referee 7 consecutive world title fights for Ricky Hatton alone. I think it's scandalous. I was hoping it was going to be something like a South African, but definitely not an English referee, and definitely not Mickey Van. Mm-hmm. I think he has jumped in to stop some of Hatton's previous contests a little too quickly when he shouldn't have jumped in. Obviously, I'm a counterpuncher, so I'll be letting Ricky lead off, and I hope I can counterattack. So obviously, the referee will have to be told about that before the fight, as I don't want him stepping in just because I'm backed up on the ropes. If we thought we could get a change, we would certainly accept it. It's the joke of the year. So he's worried about not like losing points here or there or something. He's worried about this guy's, Hatton's going to get a couple of shots in, and this guy's just going to jump in and wave it off and call it. Yeah. Which is interesting. Magee's manager, Mike Callahan, said, I'll also be having a word with Mickey Van about premature stoppages and constant clubbing to the back of the neck. I guess that's something Hatton's famous for. Yeah. So his trainer, John Breen, also said, when Eamonn fought on the same bill as Ricky in February, I was talking to the WBU officials afterwards, and they were saying it was a disgrace that Mickey Van was referee at that time, and that was the 6th time. Mm-hmm. They said, but as long as Mickey Van can count to 10 in the normal way when Eamonn knocks Ricky down, that's all that matters. As long as he doesn't take 10 minutes to get from 1 to 2. So they're trying to say that he's knocking his ass out no matter what the referee is. The referee's fucking irrelevant here. The manager also revealed that he's already taken steps to have the judges for the fight changed as well. Officials from America, South Africa, and Australia will now score the contest after it's believed that Callahan asked for 2 English judges to be replaced. Yeah. And Callahan said, I must admit it, I had a showdown with the WBU, and to their credit, they did make changes. Magee says, though, he has very little chance of winning on points in front of Hatton's home crowd. Yeah, they'll burn the fucking place down. You're not... Those refs aren't getting out of there alive, and they're going to know it. Yeah. That's interesting. So Magee said, I'm still convinced that if I win 12 consecutive rounds, I still won't get the decision. That means I've got to go out in there and stop him at all costs. And that's in boxing, that's the general rule anyway. To beat the champ, you got to whoop his fucking ass. Sure. Yeah. It's very hard to get a decision to change a title, unless it's a real you beat the fucking guy silly for 12 rounds. It's really, and especially in someone's hometown. I mean, it's everything stacked against Magee going into this shit. So June 1st, 2002 is the biggest fight of his career here.
There we go.
Ricky the Hitman Hatton, 28-0 coming into this fight.
And he was a fucking
It's a bad little
man.
motherfucker. Yeah, he's a nasty little shit. 45-3 for his career. So a really respectable boxing career.
He only lost 3 fights.
That is impressive. So I'll read from the book here. For the first time in his career, Eamonn also wanted his 3 kids to be ringside with Mary to watch their old man fight. Yeah. At the airport, 10-year-old Aine or whatever his name is, spotted the Irish boy band Westlife, then at the height of their global fame. I wouldn't say global because I've never heard of them before.
This is the first time.
Let's not go say global with that. Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't that great.
No, and I've never heard of an Irish boy band either. That doesn't fly over here.
Yeah,
who do you like? I like the pale one. What about you? I really like the really pale one. Awesome. I like the one with all the freckles. Cool. Boy bands are generally, generally like a mix of ethnicities and like, they got a dark-haired one and a blonde one. And
I like the one with the orange arm hair.
Yeah, he's hot. Wait, which one? The tall one or the short one with the orange arm hair? So, they said that Nicky Byrne, Brian McFadden, and the boys were trying to keep a low profile. You should have come to America. You could have kept as low a profile as you wanted.
Nobody would have known.
No, you could have performed at a McDonald's, and all people would have said was, "Shut the fuck up! I'm trying to eat."
Button it. I got nuggets.
Take that shit away from the ball pit. What are you doing? So they said, but when they spied Eamonn, they approached him for a chat and posed for photos with his elated child here and a secretly delighted Francis and Junior. These singers wished Eamonn all the best in the fight and arranged VIP tickets and backstage passes for their upcoming gig at the Odyssey Arena, a night which helped keep Magee in his daughter's good books for longer than usual. Yeah, Dad got you backstage passes to these global sensations that no one's heard of.
Big deal.
Big deal. Once in Manchester, however, the well-wishers were few and far between. Magee's questionable dedication to training made him a trainer's nightmare, but his innate ability to hit a raw nerve with a cutting soundbite made him a promoter's dream. Yeah, he's going to piss people off. This time his role was public enemy 1, both to goad Team Hatton into a position where they could not refuse the fight and to force the enmity between the men that would guarantee a sellout at the arena. So they said Eamonn had played his part in the build-up admirably and saw no point in relenting on fight night. When the undercard was in full swing and Hatton's hardcore fans started to stream in through the venue's front doors, Magee stood outside in a tracksuit, smoking a cigarette and glaring at anyone foolish enough to hold his glaze. Nice. You don't smoke right before you fight. You should go in there good and pissed off with like a nicotine fit. You should smoke all the way up and then quit the night of the fight, and you'd be like, "I'll fucking kill you."
Glaring at everyone.
Yeah. You tell the guy, you win, I'll get you a whole pack of cigarettes. That motherfucker will win. Hard. Real hard. That guy took your cigarettes away, man.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. So he said, you would have to be pretty fucking far back in history to find evidence of a boxer smoking a cigarette an hour before he fought in a title bout. Yeah, right. That's not normal. He maintained the spiteful bad boy act right up to and including the ring walk. The Fitzmayorga is the last guy I can think of, and
I don't know.
Ricardo Mayorga, we did an episode on him, but remember him smoking? Yeah. But that was like conditioning wasn't really his bag at all. No. He wasn't going 12. So
longevity wasn't the thing he was looking for.
No, fuck no. The fight had been christened Anarchy in the UK, with a Union Jack flag providing the backdrop to all the promotional material and the atmosphere inside the arena as Eamonn waited to make his entrance. It was a hostile mix of hate and nationalistic pride. Never one to back down from confrontation or provocation, Magee fanned the flames further by adding a pair of novelty Irish tricolor sunglasses to his traditional green, white, and orange garb. Below his surname on the back of his robe, Ardoin, the Gaelic spelling of Ardoin, had been added, Ardeoin. Team Magee were called to leave the dressing room for the ring walk, but were kept waiting for what seemed like an age in one of the narrow corridors within the Warren-like bowels of the arena. When they were then urged forward and a curtain parted so the television cameras could focus in. Once more, however, they were told to wait, this time in full view of thousands of Hatton's fans that surrounded the opening. Some of the more inebriated decided to greet the Irishman with vitriolic abuse and pints of beer and urine poured from above.
Hell yeah.
Who has urine stored up to throw?
Just got it here in my pocket. Ready?
I'm bringing this. Oh, let me bring. You know what? I'm going to bring a condom full of urine. I'm just going to bring it. You never know. Just a urine balloon with me. You know, who knows when you want to pelt somebody with urine. That's interesting. Or maybe they didn't want to go to the bathroom and just pissed in their empty beer cup. Is that possible?
Is that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking gross. So they're dropping urine and shit on him.
I don't know.
Eamonn looked up menacingly while John Breen, wiping the liquid from his head, went ballistic and gestured to security to do something about these fucking animals here. Yeah. Magee felt his temperature rising. He was getting angry, just as the Hatton camp would have wished. It's all one big conspiracy, he decided. It is when you go to a place like this, his hometown. When word came from Sky TV to start the ring walk, Eamonn refused to move. Yeah, now you can wait for me. And a lot of boxers will do that. Yeah. They'll make a motherfucker wait. All right, you waited me, wait. Now I'm going to make you wait. As Glenn McRory wondered on live television whether he'd forgotten his cue, Eamonn stood in defiance. His music began, a 7-minute recording of a traditional old Gaelic song about a lone warrior going into battle. And he was determined the English crowd would listen to every second of it.
Here we go. Yeah.
That's great. Finally, led by Danny McAlinden, the ex-British and Commonwealth champ who always cleared his path to the ring, Eamonn walked. Over 5,000 had made the crossing on boats and specially chartered planes to be in England to support Magee, but they were drowned out by the storm of jeers that rained down from Hatton's fabled followers in the bleachers. Eamonn's eyes were hidden behind the shades, but the rest of his countenance portrayed a sense of calm assurance. He knew his preparation had not been ideal, but he couldn't see anything other than his hand being raised in triumph at the end. Since the moment the Hatton fight was signed, he had asked himself the same rhetorical question more than 1,000 times. I'm a 30-year-old man. How the fuck is a 23-year-old kid going to beat me?
How can you do it?
That's 30 is that's your peak, like physically.
How would they know?
I will beat you with my adult muscles age. Right. That's at that point. Like, I am an adult now. I'm stronger than you.
Children don't know how to do this.
No, but people thought that about Tyson a lot, too. That's the problem, too. This kid's 19. How's he going to beat me? And then they would be unconscious in 12 seconds. Like, wow, pretty easily. Holy shit.
Not a problem at all, actually.
Yep. So he believed Hatton to be nothing more than a one-dimensional bully, an aggressive, come-forward pressure fighter that charged around the ring for 12 rounds, throwing thumping hooks to the body, zapping his prey of energy until they dropped breathless to the canvas floor. Yeah. But Eamonn had John Breen beat his midriff mercilessly with a baseball bat at the end of each sparring session. Holy shit.
His midriff.
Just pummel my stomach with a baseball bat. That'll do it, though. Midriff. Yeah, that's pretty fucking fun. Holy shit. Yeah, he had a little half shirt on. It was cute. Yeah. When it's a midriff, it belongs to like Britney Spears or something in 1999. Right. Yeah. It's not a grown man, a 30-year-old man especially. Wow, each sparring session to toughen up any parts of his torso that his elbows and forearms would not protect. And he thrived on opponents that attempted to force the pace and march him down. He let them hurry into range on his own terms before punishing them with short, sharp counters like the one which he did to Thaxton in the same ring about 4 months ago. While Supra's punked-up version of Blue Moon spent 15,000 into raptures and propelled a hooded, gum-chewing Hatton between the ropes, Magee swaggered about his corner, his thin lips gently pursed as if in a knowing smile. So, okay. They said the first third of the contest is all Eamonn, basically. First 4 rounds. Hatton emerged at the opening bell and all looking to put pressure and really take Eamonn to task. But Eamonn is a great counterpuncher, which is the perfect guy for this. Yeah. So he backed away and made himself comfortable against the ropes. Did an Ali. You go ahead and try to punch yourself out. I'll hit you with counterpunches. He planned to spend the entire night there, veering and leaning and ducking out of harm's way, countering and awaiting the opportunity to land a big one. To everyone's surprise, that moment arrived just 45 seconds into the fight. Drawing the champion in, Eamonn bobbed and weaved and unleashed a short right hook as Hatton left the side of his face wide open while doubling up with his own hooks to the body. He never saw the fucking punch coming, so dropped Ricky. First time in his career Hatton's been down.
Got him.
45 seconds into the fight. Yeah. The punches that hurt are the ones that you don't see coming. That's the problem.
Yeah, those are the ones. Yeah.
Those are the ones that fuck you up. So they said, but walking around the ring to his neutral corner, it was Eamonn who cursed his luck. Fuck's sake, he snarled, too fucking early. He's like, oh man, I needed to make that last longer. Hatton got back on his feet before the referee, who is Mickey Vann, the guy that Eamonn didn't want, had time to take up his mandatory 8 count. Watching his recovery closely, Magee knew there was no point in going in for the kill just yet. He knocked him off balance because he didn't see the punch coming, but he didn't hurt him. He popped right back up. It's one of those. So he said, quote, I got him once, so I'll get him again, he reasoned, as he resumed counterpunching. So after that, he said, a 10-8 round to open up will be good. I'm ahead on points now. Yeah. Hatton, though, gets back and keeps Magee on the ropes for much of the remainder of the fight. As it often happened here, Eamonn finished strong, so that's good. He always finishes strong here. Magee, though, it goes all 12 rounds, and he's going to lose the decision, obviously. That's what happens. It was too close. It was a close fight. On his home turf, you lose, and he's the champ.
You got to be dominating.
He said that he thought he got the better of him in the last rounds and thought that was strong enough because he said he thought he hurt him a couple of times, and that should have been strong enough, but it wasn't. So 23-3 here for this. It's a unanimous decision, too. So tough shit. He lost at 111 or 116, 111, 116, 111, 115, 112. So.
Okay, yeah.
They all had him up by a few rounds, Hatton. Nope, that's just how it goes. So they said there's a famous photo of Ricky with his arm around Eamonn in the dressing room immediately after the fight. Both faces are heavily battle-scarred, and Magee is yet to wash Hatton's dried blood from his shoulders and matted chest hair. Wow. Boxers often embrace in such circumstances after 12 vicious rounds, but these two bonded more quickly and deeply than usual. They were cut from a similar cloth in many ways, with the subtle distinctions in the fabric accounting for the Englishman's ultimately more successful career. In his book, The Hitman, Hatton devotes a full chapter to Eamonn, describing their bout as one of the toughest he's ever contested and the most useful in terms of how much he learned throughout the cut and thrust of that fight. So,
is that right?
That was the one where he learned how to dig deep down and all that kind of shit. Yeah, it was Eamonn, because Eamonn was tough. He doesn't give up, Eamonn. That's one thing. You're not going to beat him and have him go, oh, no, you just punch me for 12 rounds.
And
He's
Ricky
coming.
Hatton doesn't either, yeah.
No, he doesn't either. So they said in the photo, Hatton is still kitted out in his shorts and gloves with the retained WBU belt positioned proudly around his waist. Magee has already stripped his protective groin guard. His gloves and hands wraps long since ripped from his swollen paws. How else would he be able to grip the half-liter tin of Magner's Irish cider that he raised toward the photographer's lens? He's already drinking. Hatton's still wearing his gloves, and Eamonn's already got a fucking beer in him.
Still got blood on his chest.
And he's drinking. That's fucking amazing. Holy shit. He was drunk by the time he left the arena that night, and any sense of sobriety did not return for the alcohol-sodden guts of a week. So most guys go to the hospital after the fight, get some shit checked out. He just went out drinking for a week, went on a bender.
He goes to the green room and grabs some booze.
Fuck,
some
man.
cider.
And then gets more cider and more cider. Man, from Belfast International Airport, he took a taxi directly to the Chester Bar on Antrim Road, where an impromptu welcome home party soon gathered pace with the help of a generous helping of cocaine.
Yeah.
When the Chester finally kicked them out in the early hours of Monday morning, the party headed south into Belfast city centre and the familiar surrounds of Kelly's Cellars on Bank Street. There, the drink and drug-fueled shindig raged on for days.
God damn.
You lost. You can't. No, that's not what you
and
do.
He's celebrating for
That's
days.
fucking insanity, man. That is insanity. By the way, a Crime and Sports alum is going to come up here. Alex Hurricane Higgins, who we talked about, is going to come up here. All right, let's read from the book here. Built in 1720, Kelly's is Belfast's oldest and most historic pub. Damn, that's an old fucking pub. It was within its whitewashed stone walls on the cold concrete floors in front of a blazing open fire that Wolfe Tone, Henry Joy McCracken, and other leaders of the United Irishmen met and plotted the 1798 rebellion against English rule. More than 2 centuries on, it was Eamonn Magee's latest locale, an 8-pint pit stop, Jesus, he made between the gym and home after training every afternoon.
Wow.
So this is his regular spot. He comes in, he's like Norm. He comes in, they put a beer in front of him. 8 pints. Jesus Christ. The official legal owner at the time had a particularly laissez-faire approach to managing of the business, and he let Magee and his cohorts do as they pleased. Yeah. At closing time, Eamonn would be left with the keys and free run of the bar until it was time to open up the following day.
Oh, yeah.
Have a good night, Eamonn. And they toss him the keys, and he's still pouring another one. All right, there.
Night,
see you later.
Sweet dreams.
Wow. He would collect a tenner from everyone locked in the pub and stuff the kitty into the till. It was then a free-for-all as far as drinks were concerned. He befriended a young barman called Brian, and after that his daily 8 pints of cider were on the house. Brian loved having Magee around. He was good for business in that he attracted both customers and proved to be the greatest bouncer a bar could wish for.
Yeah.
Such was his ability to settle rowdy clients down with little more than a look or a quiet word in their ear. I'm going to kick the shit out of you.
Hey,
I almost beat Ricky Hatton. You understand?
Look at my nose.
Holy fuck. I still have dried blood in my chest hair from weeks ago. You want to fight me?
I've showered since I fought Ricky Hatton.
Jesus Christ. Never fight a man with dried blood in his chest hair. That's another rule I just came up with to live life by. You never fight a man with a neck that's bigger than his head, and never fight a man with dried blood in his chest hair. I think those are 2 rules to live by. Probably.
That could be a nosebleed. You still don't want to fight that.
Still, if he just leaves dried blood in his chest hair, that is a man who has he doesn't give a shit about himself or his appearance. Yeah. He will lose a nose to knock your teeth out. So, that's what he's doing. And I guess if he's drinking for free, he's like, yeah, I'll throw a guy out once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
So they said Eamonn had never felt so at home in a pub outside of his hometown, or the home neighborhood, but it still wasn't quite perfect. So he and some pals took a couple of sledgehammers to a side wall of the listed building and knocked it through to create their own little nook where they could truly feel at ease.
Just like
what
home.
The fuck is just breaking holes in the wall and living in a rat den. One morning during the fuzzy week after the Hatton fight, the electric board called to cut the power due to unpaid bills. Magee and the gang didn't care. They lit a few candles, threw a few more blocks on the fire, and continued boozing in the darkness. It was in Kelly's that he first made the acquaintance of Alex Hurricane Higgins, the 2-time world snooker champion.
Yeah.
The only snooker guy we've ever done in our entire history. And another of Northern Ireland's extravagantly gifted and fatally flawed sporting figures. He was a hellraiser on and off the table. Yes, he was. He was the guy who was constantly smoking. And remember, he would go to like the snooker halls when he was like 6. Right. And he was like a fucking total nutcase. So he was a hellraiser on and off the table. And his genius on the bays, I don't know what that is. I guess the snooker fucking table was only exceeded by his capacity to drink, smoke, and clash with authority off of it. It was thus hardly a surprise when Alex and Eamonn struck up an immediate rapport. Yeah, these two are made for each other. Peas in a pod. The Hurricane rarely left home without a couple of joints in his pocket, while the Terminator could be relied on to carry a small bag of Charlie. Coke.
What is? Oh, yeah.
Coke.
Okay.
And once Guinness for the snooker player and harp or cider for the boxer were hurled into the mix, nothing could stop the volatile duo.
No.
Nah, they're stoned, they're drunk, they're coked up. This is great. They're having a fucking night. Higgins was born and raised in the loyalist Sandy Row district of Belfast and once pushed his notoriety to extremes by threatening to have a fellow pro and countryman, the amicable and universally loved Dennis Taylor, murdered by the UVF.
What? Oh, my God.
I remember that. Such aberrations, coupled with frequent physical assaults on whoever he decided had crossed him, had made Higgins even more controversial a figure than Magee in Northern Ireland. Eamonn still recalls associates approaching him in the early days of his friendship with Alex, questioning what was he playing at hanging around with that orange cunt Higgins. That orange cunt Higgins. They were always shocked when an angry Magee, clearly not sharing their sectarian prejudices, turned on them, promising his own physical retribution if another insult came Alex's way.
Yeah.
Wow. Fuck all of them, Eamonn told his new pal when they infamously confrontational Higgins looked a little wary for once in his troubled life. Come on, mate, we're going to the Ardoyne. All right. A short black taxi ride into the Republican heartland later, Magee was buying Alex pints in the Shamrock and at the Glen Park, always keeping a menacing eye out to ensure no harm would befall his Protestant drinking partner. Before long, he was welcome into the Magee home. Even his appearance sent young Anne or whatever his daughter's name is, scurrying away in squealing terror. The sight of his sickly, pale, and gaunt countenance under a black, wide-brimmed hat as the throat cancer and accompanying radiotherapy emaciated his already frail frame. God damn it, that's hard to say.
Jesus.
And rid his mouth of teeth, startled adults and children alike in those days. He's a fucking monster. He looks like he crawled out of your fucking basement. This is crazy. For years, the partnership was strong, and the pair kept each other on bar stools all over Belfast. Alex's health gradually deteriorated until his 6-stone body was found lifeless in sheltered housing accommodation on the Donegal Road in 2010. But while he could still keep up with Eamonn, he was only too happy to get involved in any escapades that came along. It was generally mischievous more than anything, a bit of friendly pool hustling or low-level shoplifting. What are they, 12? What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. But Magee imagined it helped Higgins feel that it was still exhilarating, that he was still an exhilarating wild child living life at 100 miles an hour with 2 wheels hanging precariously over the edge. When a shifty-looking hurricane blew tamely out of the Belfast Christmas market one brisk December afternoon, his long coat swaddled around both his painfully thin body and 2 bottles of red wine he just swiped from a nearby stall, Eamonn could only smile at the sight of how this one-of-a-kind ex-millionaire was writing the last chapter of his life.
Unbelievable.
Jesus Christ. Magee paid for the goods he left the market with that day, but on occasion his fingers were just as light as Alex's. He had a long and conflicted relationship with the less than noble art of theft. It dates back to his first offense when he returned from a religious retreat to Mount Mellery Grotto with more than he had arrived with at the holy site. He was only 6 years of age at that time, and the item in question was merely a cassette tape of the Irish rock band Bagatelle, but the feeling of guilt and regret bothered Eamonn for weeks. In later life, he adopted what he saw as a quasi-Robin Hood role, stealing from anyone perceived to be richer than him to sell the item at a knockdown rate to anyone poorer than the original owner. With that dubious motto, he could justify snaffling sausage skins from the factory he worked in to flog a local butcher or pilfering plywood from a construction site behind his house to help furnish Breen's new gym.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's one of those things. Like, you're either a kind of a thief or you're not.
Yeah, but that's
inside. Like, some people can steal and some people can't, but inside, some people can just steal and they don't care, and some people
anything. Yeah.
They don't like it. You know what I mean? It's just not good. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't like to steal. I'm not a thief kind of a person. That's never been good for me.
I love to steal from the man. I love to rob.
What though?
I don't know how to describe it. Like,
steal from the man. Like you're fucking downtrodden. What are you talking about?
Like corporate shit. I don't steal from people. You know what I mean? I steal from businesses. That's what I mean. The man.
Yeah, but you don't steal.
I will
from
steal.
What do you steal? When? I've never seen you steal anything.
No, I haven't in a long time, but I did. When I stole a lot, it was things that I needed to survive via department stores, or I wouldn't steal from a person.
Like the UFC game from the Sears.
Yeah.
Like that. You needed that to survive. That was really I understand. That was gonna. You probably would have went hungry without that. I get right.
But that's what I mean by the man. I won't steal from. Yeah. I don't break into people's houses or take anything from people. That to me seems fucking disgusting. But I got no problem stealing from a business. when I felt like I needed it. I don't need anything now. So at the time, I needed that. Stealing. I needed pants, and I needed cologne, and I needed video games.
Yeah, and I needed video games. Yeah, I just don't like.
I was 14. I don't remember how old I was.
I would rather sell drugs to get the money to buy it. That was
Sure.
That's what I did. That
too.
was my thing. I don't like stealing, but drugs. That's hey, don't you dare. That's just a matter of personal choice. You leave us the fuck alone.
That's what you get, and I will take the money and go buy the things I need.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't
I
really.
think I've always been on more on that than stealing.
I didn't have much. I didn't have much option or opportunity at the time. So I just.
I hope my whole life I always heard it's nothing worse than a thief. You've heard my father say that.
There is nothing worse than a thief.
It's nothing worse than
people.
Well, that just doesn't matter. That just means that if I got caught stealing anything from the fucking Sultan of Brunei, it didn't matter. Yeah. My father would have kicked the shit out of me when I got home. So I didn't care about getting caught. On the, going to jail or something. My dad's gonna kill me when I get home. This is bad. He's gonna call me a scumbag and beat the shit out of me. I'm not gonna like that very much, and I would deserve it. That's not good. But stealing when you don't need shit is another thing.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
I mean, I stole underwear all the time.
Yeah. I've stole shit when I was a kid. I'm not saying I didn't. I'm just saying, like, if I had the money, I wouldn't have stole something with money in my pocket, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
I would have bought it if I could have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like you would have, too. If you had a pocket full of money, you would have bought the UFC video game.
Absolutely.
Or you would have bought the
I would have loved it. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Some people like to steal. They'd rather steal.
That's crazy to me.
That's what I'm saying. That's
having
the difference
money
between
and stealing
a thief
is
and
a
not. Yes.
wild thing to do.
Exactly. You like doing that. That's a totally different thing.
That's your thing.
To me.
That's your jam.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Some people steal and some people don't steal.
Yeah.
It's a matter of that. I would never steal if I had money. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. So I still feel bad. I stole a baseball card from some guy in like fucking 1991. I still feel bad about it. Yeah. I still feel pretty bad about it.
What was it?
It was a Carlton Fisk.
Oh, no.
I'll never forget it.
You could have just got that.
No, I didn't have any money. I couldn't have got anything. You kidding me? But I don't know what it was. The card, I liked it.
You needed that Fisk. Hey, man, listen, the Sox jersey then was fucking awesome.
Terrible. Yeah, I know. I felt terrible. I didn't even I don't know what it was. I don't know why I took it, but I still feel bad about it. It was like 30 years ago. I still feel bad about it. I still feel fucking bad. Oh, man. It was like a 70s Carlton Fisk card.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It was like a good one. I never liked the card. Like, the card made me sick. I never liked having it because I didn't like it because it was a guy. I don't know why I did it. So anyway,
I feel bad. It's ill-gotten booty.
I didn't need it obviously to survive or anything. So I felt like a dipshit about it. So they said from the time the 21st
if it makes
century.
You feel any better, I didn't get to play the video game. I got caught.
Well, I know you got caught. That's why we know about it. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
I deserved it.
It was the game that got you caught. You can get away with some cologne, but the game is.
Yeah, I got away with the cologne and the jeans.
Well,
everything would have been fine. They're like,
yep.
Is he stealing? He just the fucking.
We keep an eye on those
competition. This son of a bitch.
We keep an eye on those. That's our bread and butter right there. You can steal jeans and cologne, but Jesus Christ, when the tough man games start walking out the door
on Sega, this piece of shit.
Over. Oh, man. So they're talking about his stealing in the past. They said by the time the 21st century had dawned, Magee was earning a handsome wage in the ring and had no pressing need to thieve. But somehow he just couldn't help himself getting himself involved in an array of low-budget and often comical heists.
Yeah?
What are you doing, dude?
Comical heists? What, do you steal fucking ducks?
I think it's just he's a dummy. One drunken night, he saw him break into a Lisburn Road bar to remove a 6-foot replica of a Roman centurion. That's what's a comical heist. What are you going to do with that? A Roman guy, big like a Roman soldier, 6-foot high, fucking big stupid thing. Local paramilitaries with an investment in the establishment soon put the word out that the statue was to be immediately returned. Yeah. On another occasion, he was drinking with a friend who knows, all of this, and the Botanic Inn close to Queen's University, partly for the what is that? Oh, the laugh, and partly for $2,000 his pal offered. Eamonn spent the evening loosening a painting on the wall before finally walking out the fire exit with the artwork stuffed inside a jumper.
Yeah.
So he stole a painting. The next morning, he was woken up by a call from his solicitor. "Were you in the bout yesterday evening, Eamonn?" the lawyer began. "I was. Why?" Eamonn responded. "Did you leave through an emergency door with something you shouldn't have?" How the fuck did you know that?
Oh, boy.
I just had a call from my neighbor who also happens to own the inn. He saw you on his cameras, and he knows I represent you. And so Eamonn said, all right, fuck's sake, what do we do here?
Yeah.
He said, as a favor to me, he says he won't call the cops if you give the painting back today and never return to any of his bars ever again. And Eamonn said, okay, that's fine. Then he said, wait, what do you mean any of his bars? How many fucking bars does he have? How many bars did I just fuck myself out of here?
Which one?
He said, quite a few, Eamonn, quite a few. He knows a lot.
You stole from the wrong guy.
Turns out the neighbor was CEO of the Botanic Inns Group, who not only owned a large portfolio of drinking establishments in Northern Ireland, but appeared hell-bent on buying up any that weren't his.
Oh, God.
He's making it a monopoly. Over the next 2 or 3 years, Eamonn discovered he was barred from another new pub on almost a monthly basis. He had to keep going.
Fuck.
Another time here, when he's doing some dumb shit, he's hanging out with a guy named James Gerard Hamill. We've talked about James Hamill a bit.
Yeah.
On a Magee travels jaunt to America, Hamill decided to steal a Salamanzar? What the fuck is that?
Salamanzar?
Salamanzar of champagne. That's got to be some British unit of measurement. I've never heard of that before.
Measurement. Is that
like a Magnum?
Is that a very small lizard size?
That's what I mean. A Magnum sounds like a very American way to say big. A Salamanzar sounds like
Salamanzar of wine. Let's see. Oh, it's just a bottle. Fuck.
Okay. Well,
wait,
I don't know why they had to
Salamander Chardonnay. I don't know.
Salamanazar.
Salamanazar.
Azar.
Huh.
A-Z-A-R.
A-Z-A-R of wine. Salamanazar
champagne
of wine. It's 9 liters. Jesus.
Holy
fuck.
Christ.
That's more so much
9
wine.
liters? Remember the wine we were talking about that we got was a
one.
liter. And we were like, that's a big bottle of fucking wine. Normally they're $7.50. This is a whole liter. 9 liters of wine?
9 liters of wine.
So that's like
so big.
A bottle of wine the size of a man, basically. Like a life-sized bottle of wine.
That's like a leg. It's a leg of wine.
That's like just for show at a store.
Right?
You don't
There's
drink
no way
that.
you're using that unless you're
You
having a big
pour
party.
glasses of that shit. Yeah.
Nobody.
It's like a wine keg or something. That's crazy.
There's no way a good amount of like a good quality wine comes in 9 liters. Right?
No, this is champagne for Christ's sake.
Oh Jesus!
Wow,
That's gotta
for the
be
whole
like
party.
trash fucking booze, right?
It has to be. This is from a supermarket. They have those at the supermarket. While Eamonn picked up snacks for the kids. As alarms blared, the shop assistant flew out in search of the thief. Eamonn trudged outside, bracing himself for a trip to an American police station. There was only a massive car park and an open expanse outside the shop, nowhere to hide and too far to run for Hamill to have completed his getaway with 9 liters of expensive champagne under his arm.
There it is, yeah.
Yet as he surveyed the scene, the little man was nowhere to be found. The clerk wandered about for a minute, circling the concrete columns that supported a giant awning over several rows of parking spaces. I think I know where this is going.
Yeah.
But came back shaking his head in confusion. Eamonn, having just watched Hamill comically slide around those pillars, expertly keeping himself and the massive bottle out of his pursuer's line of sight, struggled to keep a straight face. He just kept moving around. You go this way, I go that way. That's hilarious. Hamill couldn't help himself. He once faked a heart attack in a shop and maintained the distraction long enough for Eamonn to sprint out the door laughing with bin bags rammed full of clothes.
Wow.
I saw a guy on Live PD or whatever the fuck it is on patrol where he faked a heart attack in a pet store and a guy tried to grab like 3 bulldog puppies and run out the fucking door while people were trying to tackle him. He like threw a puppy at somebody to get them off of him. It was fucking crazy. It was wild. But they like saw the guy, they saw it happening. Like they saw the guy go down and everybody runs to this guy except one guy starts edging toward the back of the store and they're like, you could see one buddy like checking on him.
Watch that guy.
Yeah, it was fucking interesting. And this is like the drugstore cowboy thing where, Heather Graham would pretend to have a seizure and they'd steal all the drugs from behind the counter. So they said sometimes Ham and Eggs simply grabbed an armful himself and ran, as happened when he burst through the doors of a bar where Magee was sipping a pint one afternoon, closely followed by a couple of breathless and irate cops. On another occasion, one sunny summer's day, Hamill suddenly emerged furtively from a shop, stuffed an unseen item into a nearby bush, and joined Eamonn on a wooden park bench. Seconds later, a security guard was over for a word. "Well, Eamonn," he began, obviously recognizing the most famous boxer in the country, "are you with this man here?" "I am indeed, mate," Eamonn said, gently placing a brotherly arm around Hamill's shoulders. "I've only got him out for a couple of hours, and I thought I'd let him get a bit of sun and fresh air." Nothing had been planned, but Hamill didn't miss a beat, twitching and gazing around with a vacant look in his eyes. The security guard looked down at Hamill suspiciously. "I can take him back to the hospital, or I've got to take him back to the hospital now," Eamonn continued. "He's due his medication and can't be out that long anyway." He pretended to be some just sort of...
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. With that, he rose to his feet, holding Hamill's arm and helping the Ardoin's answer to Rain Man shuffle away gingerly. The security guard smelled a rat, but given Hamill's Oscar-winning performance, he couldn't be sure. Yeah, you don't want to go, "Yeah, right, get over here, you're fucking fine," and then turns out the guy's actually got problems. "All right then, Eamonn," he shouted at the pair of con men. "Just make sure you keep an eye on this man." But keeping an eye on Hamill was easier said than done. Standing beside Eamonn at halftime in solitude, the stadium of North Belfast's Cliftonville Football Club on the day Cliftonville won the league, he suddenly decided to jump the barrier, run onto the pitch, place an imaginary ball on the penalty spot, and blast it into the top corner as the crowd behind the goal went mad. Nice. That performance made Hamill a brief internet sensation. Yeah, he looked nuts. Look at this nutty guy pretending to shoot a penalty kick and win.
Very funny.
That's probably pretty fucking hilarious. Yeah. In another role, Eamonn dressed him up in a suit and tie and introduced him to a visiting Guardian journalist as his minder and driver. As Eamonn led the poor scribe on a merry dance around North Belfast, milking him for expenses at every turn, all 5'5" of James Gerard was a step behind, alert to any dangers that may befall his defenseless welterweight champ of the world client. He's a tiny guy acting like that's my bodyguard. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, you don't want to fuck with him." So they're lobbying for a rematch with Hatton, but it's kind of tough here because Hatton, I mean, why would you want another rematch?
What's the point?
The money, I mean,
doesn't benefit me. Yeah.
You might lose. He revealed that Eamonn had kept secret an emergency trip to the dentist on the morning of the bout and had fought while on antibiotics for an infection. Oh. But the information only served to make Team Hatton less keen on a second dance. Magee had given them all they could handle, so why risk it all over again, particularly if there was a chance he wasn't fully fit the first time around. And he hadn't trained for 2 fucking weeks before the fight. What if he actually trains this time?
What if he gives a shit?
Yeah, Hatton had also set his sights beyond domestic rivalries. Now he's going for world titles. He wants to fight Zab Judah and guys like that. Ricky, on the other hand, is fighting Bozzy Bosworth again.
Hell yeah.
There he is, September 28th, 2002, Bozzy Bosworth. Again.
Positive, yeah.
He's 15-11 now, old Bozzy. Yeah. This is at the same arena he fought Hatton and Zulu in here, I think. The MEN Arena, the Men Arena in Manchester. This is a TKO in the 5th round for Ricky, as he could beat this guy like he did last time. Yeah. So he's 24-3 now. Okay. Now, May 28th, 2003, here is an interview he does with a guy named Cormac Campbell. Cormac. C-O-R-M-A-C. Cormac. Cormac Campbell went to talk to Eamonn Magee and trainer John Breen about preparations for his upcoming European title challenge. The Terminator also spoke about Ricky Hatton and why the junior welterweight fight fell through that fight, the second one. So they said it is without a doubt today that the light welterweight division is boxing's strongest and possibly most exciting weight class. Undisputed champions. We got Marcus DeCorley, got Vivian Harris, Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward, Ricky Hatton, Zab Judah, Sharmba Mitchell, and Puerto Rican prospect Miguel Cotto. Promised things will stay exciting for the foreseeable future. However, on June 14th in Germany, 2 more top contenders get the chance to further their claims for a world title shot as they clash for the European Championships. 30-year-old champion Oktay Urkel, 32-1 out of Turkey, now based in
Steven's
Germany.
cousin.
It's obviously Steven's cousin. Yeah, it's an Oktay Urkel. Made the third defense of his title some 2 years after his sole defeat, a hard-fought 12-round points loss versus the exceptional Australian-based Russian Katsiasu. The other corner will be Belfast counterpuncher Eamonn Magee. The former Commonwealth champ at age 31, this second chance may be his last opportunity to gate crash the big time. Talking about Eamonn. After giving Manchester's Ricky Hatton a torrid first 2 rounds in June of last year in a challenge for the WBU crown, Magee took his foot off the pedal and effectively handed the popular guy is what is this, Mancunian? I guess that's Manchester, the victory. He now gets a second chance, which he must grasp in order to earn a world title shot. However, Urkel will be no pushover. They said the boxing's the boxing's biggest puncher, couldn't stop the Turk. In this loss, Urkel not only managed to absorb his best shots, but also managed to hurt and confuse the champ with fast hands and good footwork. His high rankings among the 3 premier sanctioning bodies indicate Urkel is a bona fide contender. He's 3rd, 4th, and 5th in all the 3 different big, sanctioning bodies. With the fight just over a fortnight away, I visited John Breen's gym in Belfast to discuss the fight with Magee and Breen and found 2 men equally confident of success. All right. Tell me about your upcoming fight against Oktay Urkel. Eamonn said it's for the European Championship. There'll be 21,000 people there. He boxed me before as an amateur in the World Championships, but all he did was run in the final round, and he won by 2 points. He fought Tszyu a couple years ago and gave him a very hard fight. It was one of the only times he's fought outside of Germany. I've been running about 6 miles a day, and I'm going to be sparring with one of Hatton's partners, a guy called P.J. Maxwell from Sheffield. He runs 6 miles a day, but a mile of that is to the pub when he's done running 5 miles. That's the problem. So, there's a different thing here. So John Breen said it's on the same bill as Sven Oktay and David Stair for the WBA IBF super middleweight title fight, and will be on Sky on the same night as Joe, the fuck do you say that guy's name? Joe Calzaghe, what the fuck is his name? Can't remember his next defense. I could say it. If I hear it said, I'm like, that's the way, yeah. They said a world title shot is more than possible if you win. Who would you like to fight? Eamonn said, if I win, I'll be number 1 contender for the WBC. Obviously, I'd like to fight Tszyu because that's where all the money is, but there is talk of him moving up to welterweight, which I think he did. They said, you had a training camp in South Armagh for the Hatton fight. Why have you decided to stay in Belfast for the preparations of what is this important fight? And Eamonn said, I'm actually more comfortable staying at home. Traveling every day didn't suit, so I prefer staying here. That can't be a good sign.
No.
You don't go where you're comfortable. That's the point. You go where you're uncomfortable and you make yourself comfortable. And you have guys hit you with baseball bats in the stomach not because it's comfortable. Yeah, and you're right in your midriff. You're big for a light welter. Do you have trouble making weight? Breen said, people think that just because Eamonn is so big, he has trouble making weight. This just isn't the case. And Eamonn said, I've been doing this weight since 1988 without any problems. At this stage, you know what to do to get your body in shape. They said, why did you choose boxing and not some other sport? I mean, obviously, it's the only one you could be a criminal constantly and nobody cares.
I'm not allowed to punch the pitcher.
I had no interest in other sports. My 3 older brothers were boxers as well. 2 of them went professional, and Noel was a Commonwealth champ as well. After what happened as an amateur, you weren't allowed to go to the Olympics. Do you have any anger towards the IABA? They ask him. He says, I have some anger towards certain members of the Ulster Council who refused to back me. They abstained from voting and stopped me from fighting for Ireland in the Olympics. Okay. They said there was controversy again when you fought Paul Burke for the first time for the Commonwealth title. Eamonn said, I think that the British officials let themselves down. I'm sure everybody saw it. Even Chris Eubank was having the referee hung, drawn, and quartered, meaning he's the announcer. So everybody saw that I won, and they gave him that one. That was the one where everyone thought he won. What about Ricky Hatton? You had him going. Magee said, yeah, I had him. The tactics just didn't work out. He didn't stand and fight the way he did with all his other opponents. He was smart. Probably watched a lot of film, noticed you're a counterpuncher, and didn't want to let you do that. He said the question is, Hatton can be hurt as shown by you and more recently Vince Phillips. Eamonn said, if you look through his career, he's been fighting lightweights and old men. He has some good names, but they were all past their primes. The way he fights, he's going to get hit and hurt. Yeah, he leaves a lot open because he's a puncher. They said, why did the proposed fight with Junior Witter fall through? Eamonn said he was looking 200,000 pounds to fight me. I guess that was his way out of it. He's now meant to be fighting for the WBO title against DeMarcus Corley. I'm sure he'll lose there, and then I'm sure he'll come back slobbering at me again.
Looking for more money.
Looking for more money, yeah. Or less money because he just lost. Yeah. A fight with Mickey Ward could be big. Does this appeal to you? Mm-hmm. Mickey Ward is that would be a war, John Breen said, quote, Mickey Ward is finished. I think this fight with Gotti will finish him. Meanwhile, they had like 12 fights. Eamonn sparred with Ward 6 years ago in Boston and in what were very competitive spars, he said. Eamonn said, concerning all those other fighters, all their fights are wars, and there is more money here than than there is in the States. Sorry, it was hard to read there. I've been Commonwealth champ, fought for a world title, and now I'm fighting for the European title. They said, you fought Shea Neary at the Waterfront Hotel, but you haven't fought in Belfast since. Why is this? Eamonn said, being from Belfast, you're going to have to travel to fight. I was meant to fight on the last bill, but I broke my thumb in training. He said, do you feel big-time boxing is back in Belfast? It's a lot of B's. And John Breen,
back in Belfast.
And Breen hops in with his whole thing here. He says, that all depends on Eamonn winning the title on the 14th. Yes. They said, how can you view the new crop of Irish fighters? Eamonn said, there are a few talented ones coming along. There's one here in the gym, Kevin O'Hara, as well as Mickey Quinn. The three of us are fighting in Germany. Okay. What are your plans now for Neil Sinclair? That's another guy that doesn't matter. Eamonn said, hopefully there'll be a lot happening in Belfast. Hopefully my first defense. The plan is to fight in the Odyssey. They said, if you made the big money in your career, would you still be fighting?
If you made the big money, you broke fuck. How dare you just Jesus, don't say
well, if you've made millions, It's because he never won the big fight to make the big purse. He said no.
Oh.
Honest. He said,
I'm just here for cash.
Yeah, he said, if I had beaten Hatton, I was supposed to get 4.8 million pounds. I wouldn't be fighting if I got 1 million pounds. Fuck 4.5. He said, people say that they are in boxing for the glory and love of the game, but we're all in the game for the money. Mm-hmm. And then John Breed said, the boxing and the glory lead to the money. All right, here we go. Next up, he's going to fight June 14th, 2003, Octay Cassius Urkel.
Oh, he goes
Cassius
by Cassius.
Like Clay. Yeah, that's his nickname. 32-1 for him coming in, 38-4 for his career.
God dang.
This is in Germany here. This fight, once they get to the 11th round, this fight goes long.
What the fuck?
Breen is shouting at him, you need a big finish now, son.
You gotta win. Yeah.
He's telling Eamonn, you gotta do this. And Eamonn said, what do you mean? I'm a mile in front. What are you talking about? And Breen said, you're not.
No.
And what's more, we're in fucking Germany here. Go out there and win it. You're in this guy's home. He's from Turkey. He's been fighting out of here. This is his home country.
Yeah.
Magee shook his head in frustration. He scored his own fights as he fought them in his head and tended to give himself the benefit of the doubt in any close rounds. That's not good.
You can't do that.
You can't. You got to look how the judge is going to do it. There was little margin for error in his style as he attempted to parry the punches that came his way while keeping his powder dry in anticipation of throwing singular killer blows in response. He was a quality over quantity man, but ringside judges were often disciples of a reverse philosophy. Yeah, more punches you throw, the more active you look, the more likely you are to get the round, unless someone hurt you, basically. Right. Otherwise it's getting hurt and it's amount of punches landed, a kind of thing. So
and decisive victory. If you have to, if you're going to the cards and you're not the champion, you better overwhelm the fuck out of him.
He better look like a beaten up pile of dog shit at the end, and you better look great with both your eyes open wide and ready to go party afterwards.
Bloody mess.
Yeah, he better be going to the hospital. So Eamonn didn't like fighting to any instructions that were not his own, but he did go out and push himself toward a grandstand finale. Okay. Unfortunately, Urkel was cute and experienced enough to stay out of trouble, safe in the knowledge that he was unlikely to be on the wrong side of any scoring cards in Germany. Yeah. It was a feeling of deja vu at the final bell. Just as in Manchester the previous June, Eamonn was sure he had won and sure he wouldn't get it. As the rules dictate, he loitered about the ring as the points were tallied and announced, but he was already eager to get out of sight. The verdict was unanimous and predictable and eerily similar to the Hatton result. Yep, he lost. Eamonn looked to his traveling support and stuck a fat tongue out in resignation. A third Magee brother to fall just short in a European title bid. It certainly wasn't anything that could be described as a Burke-esque robbery. It was just a bog-standard home decision in a keenly contested fight. Both men were convinced they had won, and such is the subjective nature of professional prize fighting. Neither were necessarily incorrect. That's one. If it was in Ireland, Eamonn's probably getting the win.
Yeah.
If it's in fucking Pittsburgh, who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those things. So it was just part of the game, but the part of the game that killed Eamonn, the inevitability of dropping a decision in a close fight away from home, depressed him more than anything else this bloody show business could put him through. It was dark thoughts in his head, thoughts that that none of this was worth it, that it was time to pack it all in. Man, if you fight,
that ain't easy,
and you're that close and lose, it'd be better to get knocked out in the second round.
Right.
You go, I fucking did something wrong. But if you think you fought your best fight and you think you won and you still lost, that's got to really be like, this is a big waste of time, man. Mm-hmm. So they say this was another big opportunity lost. It was believed that Sue was planning to move up in weight to challenge Corey Spinks, and the reigning European champion would then challenge for at least one of the three belts unified light welterweight king left behind. Those dreams were gone now.
Yeah.
So he's 24-4. The fight itself, the scorecards were close. On one of them anyway. 116-112, 116-112, and 113-115.
Not bad.
So that's, a couple of rounds that could have gone either way.
Sure.
The home crowd, you get the benefit of the doubt. That's all there is to it. So, I mean, and part of that too, I'm convinced anyway, that there's no fucking way, because they've done studies. That scorecasting book I read, they have done scientific studies to show that the crowd affects referees.
Oh.
It absolutely affects referees.
You got to. As you're standing on the sideline watching a game, you've got your emotions got to be heightened by the sound of people. It's a human thing. You can't help it, because they were showing these different referees in part of an experiment the same plays with the sound on and with the sound off. Oh.
And they made different calls with the sound on and the sound off, watching it on TV.
Clever.
Even.
Yeah.
So when you're in the middle of it on the court, it's way worse, or in a boxing ring. And if you're a judge, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. If the crowd goes crazy because some guy got a flurry, it seems like he did more than he did. He might have hurt the guy, even if he didn't hurt him. The crowd's just happy to see hands thrown. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, nobody's kind of
that makes all the
immune
sense
to that. It really isn't. Yeah, that scorecasting book is really interesting. They talk about a lot of shit like that and kind of break sports down into science and math, and it's fucking really interesting. At this point, Eamonn's father's not doing well.
No.
Not doing well at all. Apparently, his father had been diagnosed with cancer and is struggling pretty fucking bad.
Oh.
So specialists believe there was one operable tumor doing the damage, but when they opened him up, they found another cancerous growth had been at work here too. So the surgery was a success, but basically it fucked him all up. The cancer had eaten him up here. He's weakly lying in bed. They said he was 15 stone to begin with and barely 9 stone at this point. Mm. So, I mean, you can, even if you don't know what a stone is, you can do the math. That's that's more than a third of your weight. That's not good.
Missing. Yeah.
That's not great. So they said the sight of his dad so frail and in so much distress cut Eamonn deeper than 1,000 illegal headbutts in the ring. Him and his dad's his idol, you know. They said Mike did his best to lift the sense of doom. It was another defeat on the record, but the performance had done little to damage Magee's standing in the division. the BBB of C immediately made him Junior Witters mandatory, but although dates were penciled in, few believed the champion would accept such a dangerous challenge for relatively limited reward when he could simply vacate and choose a more lucrative name. Sure. In the end, the decision was taken out of Witters' hands. So basically, Eamonn wants to gain some weight.
Oh?
That's what he's got to do here. Yeah, apparently this, which is really odd. I don't know why for him it's an odd move to go up after losing a couple fights down here.
Right.
So
maybe, perhaps going up, putting on some weight is going to be able to combat some of the slower boxers up top.
Yeah, you might get a slower guy. That's true, and it also, might allow you to add a little extra power if you can put fucking 8 pounds on.
But that slower punch comes from a harder hitter.
Yes, that's the problem.
So you got to be able to stop that. Yeah.
So that's a real good point. Totally good point. They said climbing the stairs to Breen's gym one afternoon, Magee heard John on the phone saying that Neil Sinclair wouldn't be fit enough to fight, I guess.
Yeah.
Eamonn's curiosity was roused, and hovering close, he stared, whispering in his trainer's ear, "Fit enough for what, John?" Yeah. With one hand over the receiver's mouthpiece, John replied, WBU title fight, Sinky's out. Against who? Eamonn said. Jimmy Vincent, Breen hissed back, losing his temper at Magee pestering him while he's in mid-conversation. Eamonn had worked Jim Rock's corner when the Dubliner beat Vincent over 10 rounds back in '99. He'd also sparred hundreds of rounds with Jim and rarely come off as second best. A light bulb flashed in his head. Fuck's sake, John, I'll take it. I'll just fight for it. Mid-sentence on the phone, John simply scrunched his face and waved his molester away dismissively. Don't we all wish we could just wave our molesters away dismissively?
Yeah. See you around.
That's terrifying, yeah. But a couple minutes later, he wandered over to Eamonn, who was wrapping his hands, and announced rather matter-of-factly, "Okay, son, that's on." Just like that, Magee was stepping up in weight and fighting for the vacant WBU World Welterweight title.
How about
a huge fight. So that's why you step up in weight right there. This is going to be against Jimmy Bad Boy Vincent.
He is.
At the National Ice Rink in Cardiff. Old bad boy here. So here he goes. This fight, they said the Englishman was cut at the corner of his eye toward the end of the fourth, and his building frustration showed as he began leading with his head and allowing body punches to creep south in the next round. He was repeatedly warned, particularly for his use of the head, but Magee never complained, and the South African referee took it no further. Both men probably knew a deducted point here or there would have no impact in the outcome of this one. Eamonn strutted and swaggered about the ring throughout, throwing in Ray Leonard-style type feints and sleight of hand when he wanted to show off. Vincent needed to adapt but didn't have it in him and spent most of the night chasing Magee's shadow after it had cuffed him a couple times on the side of the head. Both fighters raised their gloves in celebration at the end, but only one truly believed. Such was his confidence, Eamonn tempted fate by donning a yellow T-shirt with an Irish tricolor on the front and, quote, new WBU world champion on the back before the scores are even announced.
What a dick.
Final scores are 116-112, 116-112, and 119-109.
Uh-oh.
Which is a blowout.
Yeah.
Unanimous decision win for Eamonn.
Oh.
He is a world champion.
How about it?
He kicked the shit out of this guy, apparently, and he's a world champ at 25-4.
Not bad.
So there we go. That is that's a good place to leave off because we're going to get kind of off boxing for a minute and into something else kind of crazy after that. So that's a leave. We'll leave it off there, and next week will be our last part of Eamonn. And then we're going to have another crazy one-off episode of a one-parter. And then after that, we're going to start a little series on Randall Woodfield, the I-5 killer.
Terrific.
And it's going to be gross.
I just got a message from a man whose sister dated him.
I'd like to know which one it was. I wonder, because I've heard a lot about all of his interesting.
Randall Woodfield? Oh, who he's dated?
Yeah. We'll talk off the
show. We'll figure it out. Maybe
we'll talk off the show.
Maybe we'll talk to her. Who knows?
No, probably not. But we'll We're not going to set up interviews. What are we, journalists?
No,
We're comedians.
I just mean maybe call her and find out she's got a little anecdote she'd like to let us write down and tell. I don't know.
We have so much rape anecdote for that one. It's just
we'll
overflowing.
Be all right, I think.
I think we'll be okay. It's a lot. We're not wanting for info on that one. I'll tell you that much right now. But who knows? Maybe they'll have some other weird sexual proclivity that we'll get to hear about.
Yeah, I think she dated him while he was in the joint already.
Like after he was convicted?
Yeah.
Oh, who could resist a guy who goes around raping and pillaging and murdering people? How do you resist him?
Yeah, maybe
I want to talk to her about a whole other slew of issues. Holy shit, that's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? It's not. It was long before he got caught. What the fuck is happening?
So way back then in the 70s, this big porn mustache. So there you go, everybody. That is Eamonn part 4. Yep. Like I said, next week we'll finish him up. He's got, obviously, he's going to keep going. His son's going to get into the game. We'll see it all here. Yeah, he's going to come full circle. So we'll do all of that. That said, definitely get on whatever app you're listening on. Give us 5 stars. It certainly helps out so much. We don't understand why, but it fucking does. So help us out there. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your tickets for all the Small Town Murder live shows. They're selling out fast. Some of the shows are sold out in the fall. So if you want to come to a show, check them out right there and get them, especially do Irvine and I don't know, do fucking Seattle. There you go.
Seattle, yeah.
There you go. So
DC,
do that.
Fuck, let's go.
DC, Philly, fuck it.
Yeah.
Grand Rapids, I think, is sold out, and so's Madison. But look for those two. I don't know what the hell to tell you. So
see you there.
See you there, everybody, or some of you. So there you go. Thank you so much for doing that. Definitely get Patreon. Yeah. Holy shit. Patreon.com/crimeinsports. The best thing you could do for yourself and us. It'll help us both here. Come on, goddammit. All you do.
Copulation.
That's right. We're both going to come. What's the big deal? I don't get it.
Yeah.
What makes us come? $5
when you come
per month. What makes you come? Patreon and all the fucking content we put on it. We will. You're gonna come hard off of this shit, people. You don't understand. You are gonna get hundreds and hundreds of episodes immediately upon subscription that you can binge on right away. Then you're gonna get new ones every other week. One crime and sports, one small town murder, and we just say take it all.
Yeah.
Just keep it, take it.
The whole thing.
This week, what we're going to talk about for crime and sports, not really a crime, just some weird, interesting shit. Yeah. We're going to talk about this baseball league where they play all by 1864 rules and clothes and everything else. Yeah, that's also if we're talking 1864, who's allowed to play and under the direction of who? That's the other thing.
Who's in the stands?
People could own people in 1864. This is a totally different thing here.
Wow.
So having the ref in your pocket has a whole other meaning. When you're coming to that, the ump in your pocket.
Ladies are allowed in?
Probably not. They had to ride their side saddle on their horses, I think, or else they'd be considered whores. Yeah. So lest they be considered whores, they had to ride inside. So then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about this new Sherry Papini documentary where she claims that she lied the first time, but didn't really lie, but then lied when she told the truth about everything and came clean. That was all a lie. And now in reality, she actually was kidnapped. That's her story. And fuck, are we going to make fun of it so hard? Because that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. And she is so full of shit. It's amazing. I can't wait to talk about it. We'll talk about all that and more. Patreon.com/crimeinsports. And you get a shout out right at the end of the show, which is right now. Jimmy, hit me with the names of the people who would never, ever, ever do any of the things that Randall Woodfield did. Hit me with them right fucking now.
This week's executive producer, Rowan8436, Peyton Meadows, Liz Vasquez.
Thank you.
Happy Hour checking in West Memphis, Arkansas, Janice Hill, and Andrew Gillen. Thank you all so much for doing what you do. You're phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
Other producers this week are Julie Yemker? Y-M-K-E-R. How do you do that? Yimker?
Sounds about right.
Imker? Might be Imker. All right. Well, there you go. Thank you, Julie.
Freak
O'Fark, James, is a fan of yours.
The old Arkansas license plate from back in the day there. Very nice.
Trevor Morales, Drew Patania, Jennifer Devaney, Devaney? I don't know. Krista Merrick, Trisha Lynn, Derek Hasenstab, Lynn with no last name, Missy Blanchett, Sean Kreitzman, Daniel Hoft Travis Farr, Lynette McIrvin, Alyssa Hernandez, Tiffany Narikis. Shelley with no last name, Taryn Wright.
I'm gonna have some munchos.
Please do.
Your stupid opinions reviews that we have left over here. Well, yeah, these are good.
Stacey Herb, probably Herb. Fiona with no last name. John Shea, Kyle Bell, Lori White, Deneen. Denn, no, 2 N, 1 N, 2 E's. Deneen, that's it. Elias,
Deneen?
Elias, okay. Elias, Branaby, Emily Cornwell, Cornwell. Yep. Yeah, sure is. Margaret Spear, Ryan with no last name. Jenny Moravik. Yeah, it's Moravik. Moravik. Piper with no last name. Della Griffin. Abby Cantrell. Zach Delaney. Hezeka. With no last name.
Hezekiah?
No, Hezeka. I swear it.
I can't see it.
Anthony Burt. Emma Balargian. Balargian. I don't know.
Wow. Quite the handle.
Your guess is as good as mine. Veronica Peters. Okay. Dixon Herbutt, James. That's absolutely a real person.
Dixon Herbutt. That's a very, okay. I like that name.
Yeah. Cousin his butt. Lisa Goss. Doug Flores. Carlos with no last name. Wyona Fuller. Allison Taskey, Leanne Tilwilger, Megan Bell, Lauren Davis, Samantha Morelli, William Haney, Austin Baker, Scott Funches. Yep, wow. Jessica Dawson, Melissa Danker, Alex Hunkins, Bob Rowe. Not Rob Lowe, Bob Rowe.
Or Bob Ross.
Or Bob Ross, or that other Mike Rowe. Stephanie Moore, Jax with no last name. Lucy Herwood, Brittany Nywood.
Lucy Hiswood, is that their... We got to get them together with Dixon Herbutt.
Yeah, Dixon Herbutt and Dixon Herwood.
We got my wood, his wood, her
Lucy
wood,
his
butt, my butt. Yeah, there's a lot there, man. A lot to unpack.
Brittany Nyman, Catherine Sweet, Reese with no last name, Christy Edwards Steen, Amber Glembin, Haley Garena, Adam Peabody, Tammy M, Peabody. Robert with no last name, Colleen London, Sybil Graham, Brian Finilla, Heather with no last name, Racy Kuhn, careful with that one, Julia Wallen, Karen Ladika, Sherry, don't you know? Don't you?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know now.
But I wish my girlfriend was hot like you, evidently. Shayla Sadorf, Lillian with no last name, TJ Burgess, David Jeremy, Stacy Durand, Tracy Hayden, Aaron with no last name with an E and an Y, ERYN. Let's just spell the whole fucking thing.
Say, where does that go? What letter is where? I can't figure
Jamie
it out.
Weiland, Robert Makooch. Robert Makooch. Do it,
Makooch
James.
and Herbutt and Dixon and I am fucking.
That's
you guys
a real
are perverts, man.
Makooch.
Makooch.
James Perrier, Wyatt Smart, Jay Moulter, Katie with no last name, Laura Shrua, Jessica Richards, Paula Pink, Kelly Wisdom, Kendra Cap, Jackson Weehee, Krista Snyder, Heather with no last name, Jason Castleman, Joshua Polzewski, Funky Butt Lovin', James. He's a real person. Jessica Andrews.
Why not? Tonight, add her to the list.
This is a day.
In this crowd, sure.
Nicole May, Christina Shut, the fuck up, Andrea Fleemister, Robin Duvall, Beth Shepard, Carlos Jackson, and obviously all of our filthy patrons, you dirtbags. I love you. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you so much, everybody,
Unreal.
for all that you do for us. You're the fucking best, and we appreciate everything you do for us on a goddamn weekly and yearly and almost decadely basis, because it's been 9 years now. So thank you so much for all that you do for us. Keep sticking around, telling your friends you want to follow us on social media. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com has the links to everything. Meet you there. Thank you so much, everybody. And live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
This is your before and after story. Prepare for an incredible career in nursing. At Southeastern College, experience expert hands-on training. Learn real-world skills in our professional lab and simulated settings. And train for opportunities as a practical nurse, registered nurse, or career advancement with our RN to BSN program. At Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sac.edu to get started.